Myself, my co-host, the Wolverine, surviving the system. I want to get into a different subject. So, you always hear when you talk about religious fanatics, it's always Muslims people speak on. And it's often overlooked just how much Christian fanaticism there is in the world, but in America. Now, I don't think this is the one I wanted, but I'm going to see. But some of you can research this. There was a Christian cult. It was a family up, and I want to say Ohio, and they murdered a whole other family and buried them in their barn because they weren't Christian. I want to pick my words carefully because I as some of you know, I'm Muslim, so I won't sling mud at Christianity in any way. I'll say religion, and people may be shocked to know that as a Muslim, I like and love Jesus as well. Yeah. The only place we differ is that, one of the main places that we don't believe Jesus was the Son of God. We believe he was a great prophet.
Just like the Jews and
right.
And a lot of other religions.
But nevertheless, never will I critique this man for his beliefs and his religion, because in the end, we all want the same thing, peace and love. So let's check out this Christianity cult. It says, Christian cult abuse, cult of horror.
He was a self-styled messiah, promising salvation to his followers.
He told me that he's there to spread the gospel.
I've been to churches like that too. I had to leave.
But he took their money, brutalizing women and children.
I was on a number of occasions.
Yes, he's right. Jeffrey Lundgren. He's right.
Did you believe that?
I'm going to look that up. Thank you, mental defect.
That's what I was told.
While he sexually abused many of the men.
Yeah,
my brain was just going absolutely crazy. I couldn't understand why I would do such a thing. Why would I surrender to somebody in such a way?
How did he get away with it? Welcome to Four Corners. There's a depressingly familiar pattern to the appeal of religious cults and the vulnerability of people who are drawn to them. A pattern that includes strict obedience to the leader.
Now, let me ask you, and again, y'all, it serves no purpose for me to let you see a big piece of this because it's 45 minutes long, but look it up yourself. It says Dangerous Cult Documentary, Christian Cult Abuse, Cult of Horrors. Whoever titled that, you need to do a better job. But that's the title. So, have you heard any stories of Christian cults? I know you mentioned Jim Jones.
Of course, yeah. I mean, listen, I've had many conversations with a lot of people. Good thing is, in the federal system, you mix with all kinds of people, and luckily I've even enlightened my mother. It's crazy. My mother, she's raised Catholic, and big shout out to my mom. I love her dearly. But it just shows you people's lack of knowledge. I mean, she thought for the longest that just the simple word Allah that Muslims say didn't mean God in another language to her. It was a whole nother God that they worship. It just wasn't a simple Allah translation of God in Arabic.
Right.
So, and when you deal with that, and I deal with it, and you talk to someone as simple as your mother, and you hear it, you're like, man, what is... You really want to tell people and help people, give people knowledge.
So they don't sound foolish, for one.
And don't have the wrong idea about things,
right,
and make the wrong decisions of who you want to get behind and who you want to be friends with and stuff like that.
So,
Heaven's Gate cult.
Oh, yeah. Heaven's Gate, I want to speak on them, too. Let me tell y'all, though, honestly, you'll hear so many outrageous things about Islam, and people will just pick little pieces and say, well, they said this in the Quran, so they're violent. See, and people don't seem to understand with the Taliban and Al-Qaeda.
Speaking about that too, see, most of Muslim stuff you hear about is where? With other Muslims, like Shiites and Sunnis. Right. It's always... you don't never hear of Muslims over here in America. Oh, the Muslims are at it again.
No, and look, you hear about the Muslim-Christian war. It wasn't called the Muslim-Christian slaughter. It was a war. The Christians kicked a lot of ass in that war, too.
They were called Christian Crusades.
The Crusades.
Went on crusades. They put the White Knights, they were called the White Knights, together. And they would go on crusades to strictly kill Muslims.
This man at the bottom says, men who follow the Quran are the only people I see beheading people on video. Well, here's my response to that.
That is so
that's
far. You know how many
that's
killers?
False.
Look at Jim Jones for one.
Jim Jones was a Christian and encouraged like 10,000 people to kill themselves on camera.
Right.
A. B.
And not only that, but killed people that tried to buck. Let's
and
not
anybody
forget.
that tried to, they killed a politician that day and his people.
And numerous others. That's just someone that's famous.
But let me be clear, my friend. The Ku Klux Klan planted crosses. You may know what a cross associate with Christianity. A lot of Klan rallies, they read quotes from the Bible.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many people the KKK murdered in the name of Christianity?
The same people that are doing them rallies, burning hookers on the stake, guess where they go on Sundays?
I mean,
they all go to the same church.
And no offense taken. Maybe I misread your comment. I didn't take offense, but
please believe you can look up. There's all kinds of. Is Mormons considered Christians at some level?
They're considered an offshoot of Christianity.
Okay, well, look at the one guy. He went on a damn rampage, running around with money. He had a bunch of wives. I mean, come on.
Listen, the fact is, right now, if you're in America and you're scared of Muslims, just know that it's no different than the propaganda that any country can do. This guy, he comes back and says, if I mention the Prophet Muhammad, I get beheaded. School teacher in Paris face. Okay, fair enough.
That's a crazy person. Listen.
That's a great, but let me say this. Let me come back at you. If I were to go to certain white power groups right now and claim that I'm a full man, I may get murdered, okay? And they, once again, call themselves good Christians. They subscribe to Christianity, yet they believe that blacks are 3/5 of a human being. So it goes both ways.
Yeah, listen, you find people that will claim religion, politics, or whatever to make
and do the most evil stuff.
It's still, no matter what they claim, it doesn't make them morally sound all of a sudden.
Here's what I'll say to you. It's just like this. If one of our fighters right now goes out screaming street beefs and starts beating the people in the mall, does that suddenly mean that Street Beefs approves of people doing that? Our followers are violent mall beaters?
But unfortunately, like sometimes just a small group like that, kind of like with the Muslims, changes everybody's
It can change your perspective. It does. But those of us that pay close attention know that that's not what it is. You cannot. I want to say this. The last thing I'll say on this subject, folks, there's over 1 billion Muslims in the world. If Muslims wanted you dead, you'd be dead. Okay? The simple fact is it's a small sect of the religion. I, as a Muslim, I have friends that come directly from the Middle East that hate ISIS, despise them. I can tell you they're not approved of.
And not only that, out in the Middle East, you got to realize there's a lot of disparity in the poor and rich, and it's got to do with a lot of money, a lot of oil, and these people think it's theirs, and these people think it's theirs. So it's not so much the Shiites and the Sunnis are fighting each other because they're different Muslims.
No,
they're just different groups of people that are fighting because they want something, and
they happen to have that title.
Yeah.
Mental defect. That's a good point. People going around chopping heads off would do it even if religion wasn't there, and that is a fact. You are the winner, my friend.
That is the point.
They use religion as their excuse to do that stuff. Okay, let's do this before we get to Bobby Schmurder. Warren Jeff's World of Polygamy. Okay, again, I'm back. This is Surviving the System. Me, my co-host, the Wolverine. And before we start and watch this, let me say this. I don't want anybody to think that I'm singling out Christianity. I'm not. In fact, I give you my word, the next time we'll get into some Islam and some of the radical that we see in the religion that I follow. Today we're speaking on this, but quote me on that. Let's talk about Warren Jeffs. I know this guy's a bit of a weirdo.
62 kids. For a leader of the largest polygamous group in the country, membership had its privileges. But now 2 family members of the group led by Warren Jeffs are determined to help others make the same dramatic decision they did. Get out. Here's ABC's Cecilia Vega.
We're getting close now, right?
Yes, we are just entering into short gate.
This is the hidden world of the FLDS, one of the largest polygamous groups in the United States, and the kingdom of their leader, the now jailed Warren Jeffs.
It doesn't take long to get the message. We are not welcome here. Did they do that because of us?
Yeah.
That's because we're riding with 2 of his biggest enemies, his own flesh and blood.
My name is Matthew Wall Jeffs. My name is Zachariah Barlow Jeffs.
The imprisoned leader's own nephews have now turned against their uncle and everything he stands for. They've returned to help others leave the FLDS, which still has as many as 10,000 members.
So
10,000 members.
They've got-
Is this recent?
Yeah, this is recent. Yeah, they're out in Utah. Recent meaning the last 5-7 years.
He's already went to jail and shit.
He has. He was on the run for the longest, but
Yeah.
he had little girls like 11 years old, 12 years old having his babies. I mean, this kid, you didn't hear about this?
Of course I did. And that's where he was found with all the money in the back of the trunk.
That's right.
Honestly, this dude he would never fight somebody one-on-one, right? So how do people like this have so much power? Obviously, they're master manipulators.
Well, he's a master manipulator. Listen, here's the thing.
Like Marilyn Manson.
It's psychology. Charlie, let's be clear. Charlie Manson was not a tough guy.
Look at Jim Jones.
They both were cowards.
Butterball.
But what they do is get impressionable young people and they lead them with religion and they make it that they're the prophet. I was sent by God to teach you this. And if you really believe somebody was sent by God to teach you some shit, you're gonna follow.
And not only that, but it's just a lot of people out there wanting so bad to belong to something and looking. See, so you got 1 million people. So even if you can get 100 of them, you see what I'm saying? Now you got a call. You got a call started. Now you got 100 people doing what you're doing. They go get 1 or 2.
And
now
that's
you got
what Manson
300.
did. He snatched.
Most people are probably dealing with like depression. And
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, these people that join cults. They have issues.
They do.
Obviously,
they do because they.
You know what I mean?
Listen,
the
they
same
need
reason why
that.
young kids join gangs.
Yep. Bam! There you go. It's the same thing. They cannot stand on their own, so they need to be a part of a group.
Well, they want to feel. They see the affection that other people get in families. They don't. And then your homie's like, "Hey man, I love you, man. What's up? We going out today? We gonna go do something?" Well, that's the only person asking him anything about his day. What's up? Is he feeling good? So of course you're gonna want to belong to whatever he's doing.
Yeah. Where my horns at? Men in Islam marry 13-year-olds. Well, I just told you that Warren Jeffs impregnated a bunch of 11-year-olds. So
Islam out there in the Middle East do the same thing.
Everybody has
and again,
we already said we're going to.
It's not the religion making them do that.
Right.
These men are pedophiles by nature. Listen, I'm a Muslim. Do you think I'm out here sleeping with 12-year-olds? No. Okay? These men are pedophiles by nature who use...
How many wives you got?
I got one wife.
Okay.
And if I have more than... If I even have half an extra one, I'm a dead man. So trust and believe it ain't the religion.
Warren Jeffs has like 50.
Warren Jeffs, a Christian,
60,
had like
60,
50, 60 wives. So, all right.